Whiskers of the Damned. In the quiet town of Eldridge Hollow, where the sun rarely shone through the thick canopy of trees, secrets lay buried beneath the rich, loamy soil. It was a place where shadows seemed to move with a life of their own, and the oppressive silence was often broken by the odd rustling of leaves or the distant caw of a crow. The quaint cottages, framed by wild gardens, only masked the town's dark reputation. Evelyn had recently moved to Eldridge Hollow with her parents, drawn by its rustic charm. A city girl at heart, she found the town unsettlingly tranquil. It wasn't until her first night there, under the ghostly light of a full moon, that she encountered the town's true nature. As she curled up in bed, surrounded by unpacked boxes, she heard a faint tapping at her window. Her attention piqued, she slid the curtains aside and gasped. A small, scraggly cat sat on her windowsill, its fur matted and eyes glowing like molten amber. Despite its disheveled appearance, there was something inexplicably captivating about it. "Hey there, little one," she whispered, and the cat tilted its head, as if understanding her tone. Without a second thought, Evelyn opened the window, and the cat leapt inside, her heart quickening with a mixture of excitement and dread. It introduced itself with a gentle rub against her leg, and she decided to name it Jasper. That night, as she fell into a deep sleep, she felt a warmth emanating from the feline curled up by her feet. Little did she know, Jasper was no ordinary cat. The next morning, she awoke to find half the town buzzing with a strange energy. People were whispering in hushed tones about the latest happenings, an eerie flurry of strange animal behavior. Dogs howled at the moon, birds circled ominously overhead, and farm animals acted as though they were possessed, charging wildly in their enclosures. Jasper remained unfazed, lounging on Evelyn's bed, lazily grooming himself while she watched the chaos unfold outside her window. An unsettling feeling crept into her stomach. Was it merely a coincidence, or was her new companion somehow linked to the strange disturbances? Curiosity gnawed at her. She ventured outside, Jasper trailing behind her, a shadow against the sunlight. As she wandered the streets, she saw the townsfolk's tension and discomfort, their eyes darting to the skies or their pets growling at unseen foes. She overheard snippets of conversation about the spirit of the wraith, and old tales of animals turning against their owners following a tragic incident decades prior. Evelyn felt increasingly uneasy, knowing that Jasper had come into her life just as the animal disturbances began. One evening, things spiraled further out of control. As dusk settled, a chilling wind swept through the town, and the cries of animals crescendoed like a haunting choir. She sensed a powerful presence building, one that coiled around the very air she breathed. That night, as she lay in bed, the room appeared to darken unnaturally. Shadows gathered in the corners, creeping towards her. Jasper, sitting eerily still at the foot of her bed, stared at her with those burning eyes that had once seemed so enchanting. They now glimmered with a foreboding intensity, almost as if he were summoning something from the depths of the darkness. Panicking, Evelyn jumped out of bed, her heart pounding like a drum. She felt compelled to confront her feline companion. "What are you?" she demanded, her voice trembling. But Jasper only tilted his head, unblinking. In that moment of despair, the whispers were becoming a cacophony, echoing from the walls as if they were alive. A sudden chill filled the room. Feral growls erupted outside, and Evelyn could see shadows darting past her bedroom window, dogs twisted in unnatural ways, their eyes reflecting malice. Then she noticed it, an insatiable hunger behind Jasper's eyes. It wasn't just a cat anymore, it was as if something ancient and vengeful had taken root within him, a demon of old ready to reclaim its dominion over Eldridge Hollow. Without thinking, Evelyn turned to the only place she could hope to uncover the truth. The town library. She dressed hurriedly and raced down the cobbled street, the moon casting an ethereal glow over the madness unfolding around her. She could hear the rustling of leaves, the scrapes of paws on the ground, and the ominous hissing of snakes. Inside the library, she tore through the dusty shelves, searching for anything that could help her. After what felt like an eternity, she stumbled upon an old tome filled with tales of possession and the spirit of the wraith. It tied together the stories of Eldridge Hollow, how a malevolent force was awakened the night an old witch was killed. Desperation fueled her. She realized that she needed to confront the source of this madness. Rushing back home, she found Jasper sitting elegantly on her bed, a soft, ominous purr emanating from him. "Jasper, we need to end this," she cried out. She remembered a passage from the book that spoke of a ritual to exorcise evil spirits. As the howls grew more furious outside, Evelyn gathered her courage. She mimicked the ancient incantation, her voice trembling yet firm. The shadows in her room began to writhe, and Jasper's eyes widened, shifting from fierce to wild panic. In a cacophony of yowls and growls, as if the pets of Eldridge Hollow screamed in unity, Jasper began to morph. The little cat convulsed violently, his body reshaping into something grotesque and twisted. The darkness clawed at the edges, reaching towards him, desperate to reclaim its host. Evelyn pressed on with the incantation, her heart racing, fear coursing through her. With one last triumphant cry, she completed the spell. An explosive burst of light erupted from Jasper, blinding her momentarily. When she regained vision, she found Jasper at her feet, returned to a normal cat, panting as though awakened from a nightmare. Outside, the howling ceased. The oppressive energy dissipated, and calm fell over the town like a soft blanket. Shadows retreated, and a strange stillness settled. Evelyn had pierced the veil of darkness, but she knew the battle might not be over. As the sun rose over Eldridge Hollow, she looked down at Jasper, who nuzzled against her leg, his eyes still glowing. Perhaps not with malevolence, but with the lingering trace of something that would always remain. She promised to protect him, but in the recesses of her mind, a haunting thought lingered. There were many beasts in the world, and some were more loyal to the darkness than the light.